Oh my God, it's Saturday morning, and by the skin of our pants, by Grabthar's hammer, we will get this going, provided I can find the right button. It's Saturday morning, it's Art of Rock. Every Saturday morning here, please join us on Angelspit's damn Twitch, and we're going to talk about rock and roll and making rock and roll. Soon we'll talk about spaghetti. That's in the art of spaghetti and making spaghetti, but not today. This is brought to you by Angelspit's Patreon members, many of which are here. Many aren't. Where the fuck is everyone? Really? Come on. Jump on, join it, and so much of that content is free. Life's good. It is, really. Angelspit's new album is called Diesel Priest. Your neighbors will hate you for it. If you play it constantly, your mother will be ever more disappointed in you, and that's good. New remix single is called Stand in Line. It got released yesterday, and some of the people who remixed that madness will be here, and somebody who will be remixing on the next one is here. Eric! Woo! Sequence 1 Glass Jar is Angelspit's space epic adventure into space and epicness. It's also on Bandcamp. Go get it. Meanwhile, free on Spotify, there's a playlist of a whole bunch of bands that you need to know about. Click those goddamn bands, give them a listen, and if you like them, save them. Save them to your list and keep listening. And also on the topic of non-stop music, MTV TV. If you've got a video, send it to MTV TV. If you're bored at work or somewhere else, watch MTV TV, because you are going to learn about your new favorite band there. And if you're in a band, you're going to find out your new audience there, because there are so many amazing bands going on right now that so many of us do not know about. MTV TV also have a Patreon. Check it out. Because that's a crew that definitely need everybody's support and love, because we got to keep that shit going. Your mics are live. Good Saturday morning to everybody. Saturday morning isn't really Saturday morning unless there's cartoons. Yeah. So let me be the Scooby-Doo of industrial rock today. No, I don't like that. Maybe I'll be the Ninjas of Science. G-Force. All right. Maybe you guys didn't get that one. G-Force? Didn't get G-Force? Battle of the Planets? Yeah. Ninjas of Science. Terrifying. Well, the English version was really dumbed down. The Japanese version was really violent. Like, horrifically violent. Like, they were killing children. It was terrifying. Okay, Mark's thinking about
Ninjas of Science.
Look it up. It was called Battle of the Planets, and it was very dark. Darkwing Duck. I don't know what Darkwing Duck is. Rainbow X Water, but it's Skeleton Warriors, He-Man.
Yeah.
I'm in a different age group, I guess. Okay, but seriously, cartoons are serious. Damn it! I want to talk about motivation and getting motivated, and you guys are very welcome to jump in at this point. Getting motivated is really bloody hard. But the trick with motivation, because of the way the brain works, is you have to do something first. You have to actually start on it before the juices of motivation start stirring. So you have to activate yourself first, then you get motivated. It's not the other way around. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that inspiration is connected to motivation. It's not. You have to start. You have to make your coffee, do your ritual, do your dance, and plunk yourself down in front of your piece of paper synthesizer or computer or whatever. You have to start, and then motivation shall flow. While we're on this topic, would anybody else like to jump in about motivation or anything?
I completely agree with you. I have to set cues for me to this is the time I have to sit down, and then I'm already there in front of the computer, and then the motivation happens. But I have to have those cues, like you said, like make my tea, have the ritual, and that's how it happens. Even though I don't like structure, the structure helps me to end up with the motivation.
That's really good. Okay, let's talk about... I want to talk about ritual first, and I want to talk about structure. This might seem like, structure, Mark loves structure.
Love structure.
Oh, good. Okay, so firstly, ritual. What do you do to help yourself start specifically making music? Do you have a ritual? Do you light candles? Do you make a coffee? Floor's open.
The first thing I do every time is light candles. Every time. And I, like Mark, love structure. And if you're into astrology and stuff, I am a Virgo, so we are structure, organization, lists, certain ways, and I am a Virgo to a T. So I just find myself not being able to create anything without, there's just something so like warm and primal and encouraging about candles to me. So I always have a whole bunch of them and just light them all up, and that usually gets me in the mood if I'm not too tired. If I'm too tired, it's more difficult.
Can I ask you, do you have certain flavors of candles? Like, are they scented, or are they just like beeswax, or are they like paraffin, or what?
I have a whole, actually that's like my candle section, and the incense and everything is right back there. I love autumn, so a lot of my stuff is autumn scents all year round. I do kind of change with seasons depending on my moods, but most of the candles are soy candles and they don't have scents. So like I'll burn maybe one scented candle just because, or I'll burn incense, and then everything else is the unscented candles with it.
Do you even make candles?
I have never tried. It's probably a lot cheaper.
It's fun.
Yeah.
There's
Maybe I'll give it a go. Oh.
No, the floor's yours.
Oh, no.
No, I was trying to get focused. Yeah, maybe I'll give that a go.
All right.
Sounds fun.
Speaking of sounding fun, the screaming you hear in the background is Shaya. Shaya is feeling much better now, and she wants everyone to know about it. All hours, constantly. Mark, do you have a ritual?
Currently my ritual is after I finish working, I slide over about 3 feet to this computer, and then I just start working on something. But like right now, my ritual is just make sure that, well, I don't always do it right after work. My ritual is just that. I do have a ritual. My ritual is to put out my food to come to room temperature so I can cook later, and then I work on music while I wait about an hour for things to warm up, and then I go cook, and then I eat, and then I just do whatever after that. But really my ritual is just making sure that after I work, I do music. Kind of helps reset, I guess.
That's great. Okay, so, Diana, do you have? We've spoken about your ritual, haven't we? The tea.
Well, it's my cup of tea. It's I will stand outside on the porch for like 5 minutes and just reset before I start the project. It helps me clear my head from all the mess that's been going on from other things I've been thinking about, and just kind of breathe a minute, and then I start.
It's really interesting. Thank you. I've stopped doing rituals, and I really miss that. Like I used to do candles. I used to make candles, and I used to have all of these different rituals that I would do to start making music, and I've stopped. Since moving to LA, I've just stopped all of them, and everything's become really frantic for me. And Diana, when you mentioned like going out, looking at stuff, and zeroing, that's a huge problem I have. And Mike, you said you finish work, you scoot your chair over, like work computer, music computer. So I do this, and I find it really hard. Because my brain goes into that phase lock feedback thing where it's like, I'm exhausted. I'm so exhausted. My brain's exhausted. I can't make music. That's why I have to make music in the mornings. But I'm trying really hard to make it in the evenings as well. Because, my theory is if I do it in the evenings, maybe I'm going to come up with something different. Great thing about your brain. And I sort of... and that is actually really true, because I was just actually going through a whole bunch of ideas in my book, and they're all really standard. but there's this fire that goes through all of them, this little random thing. Like it might be an arpeggiated sequence of notes that don't belong in those chords, but they really add fire. They add something cool to it. And I looked at it and went, I didn't do that in the morning. I did that at night when I was tired and my brain was going, fuck it. Because, you know, the morning's really structured. I think I need to get back into lighting candles, and fuck, I haven't done that in such a long time. I used to love beeswax candles and all that shit. I should do that again. I need to do that again. So once you started, what structure do you adopt, adapt, employ to keep you going?
Well, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of structure, even though it helps me. So that's something I've struggled with for a long time, because my mind goes bing, bing, bing all over the place and needs something and needs something else. And not that it's my, you know, but spreadsheets. And then I look at the spreadsheet and it kind of keeps me on task. Maybe it's not the most straightforward spreadsheet, but the spreadsheets and the checklists help me keep on task. That's where I'm still learning. It's taken a long time, and it's still a difficult part for me to do. But it's helping.
Self-management is really difficult. Also, I apologize for the knocking sound in the background. That's a Californian indigenous bird who's knocking at my window, and she does this every morning at this time. And also the cat screaming. It's just Animal Central. Eric.
Yeah. So after candles, I usually pour a drink, and that gets my mind going, or turns my mind off, depending how you look at it to go which way. And then I'm like very extreme with things. I'll either have a flow of ideas come out. I just start banging away at stuff, or I'll take a beat I already have, and if it starts flowing, I write. I don't do song by song. Like, back them later for the ones I like, and the ones I don't like, I just either delete or throw into a folder that I'll work on later. So like, I'll literally just sit down and I'll bang 4 beats out that I really like, and sometimes I won't get one. So it's either like, oh, I just created 4 songs that I can work on in the future, or I created nothing. So then depending on where it goes there, if I get nothing, I don't try to force myself. I'm just like, it's not flowing tonight. So then I'll go try to work on some beats I already have made, and if I can't figure anything out with that, then I just give up for the night and do something else. I usually try to force myself, and that, for me, that takes the fun out of it. So like, my structure for that is like candles, and then sit down and do that, and then branch it from there. There's not really much more to go on. But if I do start flowing, like, I'll sit for hours and just create. So
That's great. I know another really good trick is to do sit-ups. Sit-ups, push-ups, or planks. Anything at all to engage your body, to get the blood circulating and oxygenated. And planks, like these things are great because it literally takes 30 seconds to 120 seconds. It's a short process to just go boom, 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 and you're back into it. You know, I think that's something I need to do. Like, if I don't have it literally written on the wall in front of me, like, hey, Carl, do this thing. I actually have a folder, a text pad called bored. And when I'm bored, I click on that folder, and that text pad, and the top thing, it's a list of things to do. Stuff like clean the studio, maintenance. And the top thing it says is get off the internet. That is the top thing. We were talking really briefly before we started streaming about depression. And it's depression and burnout. And when you're burnt out, you start doing things that require absolutely no brain exercise, no brain traction, like staring at the floor, staring at YouTube, staring at some dumb TV show. Why am I even watching this dumb TV show? I'm not invested. I don't care. And I've always wondered, there are far more healthy things. I just noticed some humans over here. Adam, welcome. Maz, welcome. So, is there... Yes. What are healthier things that you can do besides staring at the floor or staring at YouTube? I think it's more healthy to stare at the floor, personally. Because, it gets to that point where stuff does not go into your brain. Like, it just doesn't go in there. Yeah, does anyone else feel that? I get that way every single fucking day. It just goes, no. Eric, save me. You're muted.
No, I hit the wrong letter. You're doing fine, Carl. I don't need to save you. I love weightlifting, and I weightlift 4 days a week. And I know we were talking about this last week, but after I started working, my job's very physical, so that kind of declined. But the last couple weeks I've started doing it again, that helps a lot too. And that's actually part of my ritual. I wasn't before. My music ritual is when the candles start, but like I usually get home. I work a 9 to 5. I get home, and I love weightlifting. It does, like you were saying, Carl, planks and sit-ups. It gets your blood flowing, and blood flowing through anywhere in your body pumps it through your brain, pumps it through everywhere, and it gets you going. But going on to the thing of burnout and depression and stuff, yeah, burnout's strange. It's a weird feeling, and I think a lot of people have burnout and don't realize they do, because like you were saying, when you're watching things and you're putting it on and it's just going in and you're not comprehending anything, that's your brain just like, it's done, it's fried, it just doesn't want to do anything. Excuse me. And then trying to find that motivation and stuff to make music or art while you're in that state is extremely difficult. I think it's more difficult than depression. With depression, your brain still is functioning and you can still comprehend things. It's just a different thing. Burnout is entirely different, and it's really strange.
So I'm sorry if were you? Okay, I want to continue on that, because like I threw it out today, the other day on my Facebook about what do you do when you're burnt out. And some people said keep going, and it's like, I don't think we're on the same page here. Like physically, your brain, you have trouble talking, you can't make a decision. And if somebody is talking to you, you're having trouble understanding them, and you can't read. Forget that. You cannot comprehend dialogue. And if you watch something and then somebody says, what did you just watch? You go, I don't know. Whereas if you watch the floor, you can say, I watched the floor. What do you do? Clean the house? Maybe that's a great idea. I should add that to my fucking list. My wife would be happy about that. Clean the fucking house. What do you do when you get to that point? Or is the day done? How long does it take you to get to that point? How often do you get to that point? Let's talk about this.
I mean, I'm not sure how often I get to that point. I feel like I'm always in survival mode with all the medical stuff that I've been dealing with. Sometimes I just kind of, like I said before, I'll sit out on the front porch and I'll just kind of zone out, honestly. Or I'll put my music on shuffle or something, and like you said, you don't even know what you listen to, but it's something. Cleaning the house is a good idea.
Yeah.
But I tend to zone out, honestly.
I do wash the dishes. Is this too much information about Carl? Mark, tell me, what do you do?
Well, actually, what I was gonna get at is, so at least for me, I can't exactly define burnout, but I have not heard burnout expressed as extremely as what you are describing. I've heard burnout more as when, like, usually you get burned out on like a single task. Like you may be artistically burned out where you can't really do anything artistic, but other things are fine. Like you just can't go anywhere with a task. So I think that may be why some people may say, well, you keep going, because they have a different idea of what burnout is. Like I don't think I've experienced burnout, that kind of burnout that you're describing.
Unfortunately, cool. Thank you. There's a lot of people who also experience this, and it used to be I get it once a month. Then it was I get it once a week. Now it's I get it every day. I'm not just talking about myself. Like so many people are. Maybe it's the absolute inundation of everything that's going on at the moment. Oh, I really want to talk about what's going on at the moment, but I won't. Eric. And then I'm going to talk about what's going on. Eric.
Yeah, burnout, depending on the person and situations, comes extremely fast, or it's a slow burn, like a good movie. But the opposite's bad. But everybody's different, Rose, and it can come and go. I think there's no definitive way to get rid of it. I think therapy would help. But I think finding the root of the problem and changing that's helped with me in the past. And a lot of times it's work. And a lot of people don't like work and don't like their jobs. And that causes a lot of burnout because you're doing that for 40 hours a week. And when you're getting home, your mind's shutting off because you don't want to face anything else because you're burned out from working. Or you're burned out from whatever it is. It's like being stuck in a rut where you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you can't figure out why it's happening or what's going on. But once you figure out what the root of the problem is, and you can fix that, I think it changes everything else. I also agree with cleaning the house. I actually like cleaning. It makes me feel good, and I think when you're in your environment and everything around you is in order or how you like it. If you like chaos and everything's chaos, then that's what you thrive and you live in. I think your surroundings and the way things are around you make you feel better mentally. So if you have a nice clean house and everything's organized and that makes you feel like, oh man, the energy in my house is so good right now, that rotates and it goes through and everything is part of a cycle and it's a symbiotic relationship with everything. So if cleaning the house totally works. If you like washing the dishes, you enjoy washing the dishes, it makes you feel good. I hate having dirty dishes in the sink. It makes me feel like my life is out of control. So like if the dishes are clean, everything's cleaned up, everything's vacuumed, I feel better and like the house feels better and the energy just flows. And I think that's a good way out of it.
Excellent. Rose, so who are you? Are you Rose X Sweater? Is that you? Do you? What's your Twitch name? Rainbow. Is that you? All right, so that was you on Twitch. No, okay. All right, I'm sorry. So, yeah, I just wanted to intervene about something fantastic that happened this week while everybody was distracted with the dumbest fucking shit I think I've seen in my whole fucking life. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I think this fucking celebrity thing needs to be banned. I think that the whole bullshit about I heard a guy who I used to respect saying if someone slapped him, he'd sue them for $200 million. I just like to say that myself and every single person I know combined will not make $200 million combined in our lifetime. And knowing that if somebody slapped this piece of shit, that slap to him is worth more than our entire net income for our entire life. That guy can fuck right off, and both of those dickheads can fuck right off. This celebrity bullshit it's just the dumbest shit. We have to fucking forget the lie that maybe you can achieve this, maybe you can achieve that wealth. because we can't. We fucking can't. Our job is to spoil our life in a job we fucking hate, making money, so that we can keep this stupid fucking engine going. I say burn it to the ground. Something awesome happened this week, and that was James Webb, the most advanced telescope in human history, sent back the first image of a star that they could hardly see, but the image was outstandingly clear. And what's come back from James Webb was actually better than that. There were 290, 300 things that could go wrong for this thing to work. Every single step of that telescope worked perfectly. It gave an image of a star that is whoop the fuck off somewhere else. And in the background of that star, it shot fucking, was it 20 or 30 galaxies? And you can see these fucking galaxies. Like, that shit's exciting. Fuck yeah, humankind. International venture. Good shit. Let's do that. So thank you. I just had to get political for a moment and remind everyone that excellent things are happening in James Webb land. And if you fucking get depressed, check out what is going on James Webb. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know, they said that if James Webb could point at Earth, it could tell you, it could count the freckles on your face. So why has NASA spent all this money trying to pick my freckles? That was stupid. I apologize. I'll edit that out. Okay, thank you. So, yes, inspiration and all of these things. I only bring that up because the previous week has been very inspiring to me as an angry man. I don't want to talk about it, but what I will say is that you're better and your fucking trajectory of life is better. And James Webb is showing us where we will hopefully be in a few thousand years. Fuck yeah, humanity. And not ruining planets, by the way. Does anybody else want to throw in about the amazing, fantastic thing that is motivation, ritual, and inspiration? Eric.
Horror. I had to do the but yeah, another thing for me, and like I said, everyone's different, but I like to. The moon resets me, and I like to walk at night, like any moon, but the full moon. Like you were just talking about space, and just you can see more galaxies, and there's just like we're so minuscule, we're so small. None of this matters. Like. When I'm walking at night or just thinking about stuff like that, that just resets my brain too. Just like it doesn't matter. Do my bills matter? Do any of this? No, it doesn't. Nothing matters. And it all ties into what you were saying too, with money and everything. We're here. We're set to be here. This is how it's going to be. Now inflation's going crazy. Housing and renting is going crazy. Everybody's stressed out about this. I'm stressed out about this. Like, where am I going to live? What's going to happen? What if rent goes up? It's like inflation's 7.5%, and people get if you're lucky, a 3% raise. It's just like, which is actually a pay cut. There's so much crap, and it gets in our heads. And what is it in America? 60%, 64% now. People are living paycheck to paycheck after this last inflation I was reading, is insane. So like for me, resetting, looking at the moon, walking in the moon, looking at nature, just having a good walk, and just realizing that none of this matters. We can't control it. It's being controlled. Helps me feel better. It helps with depression, burnout, whatever it is. It just helps. It's a really good thing. I do believe totally in the power and energy of nature and the universe, and seeing like that picture. It's just like all those galaxies. It's just like. So
you saw it.
Oh yeah, I posted a link here too.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking post that shit because that is so good, man. That is so good. All right,
yeah, it's just incredible. There's so much more out there than us.
Yeah. It's boom. I just posted that in the chat. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna actually put this down here as well. It's interesting that wife has started taking a keen interest in the birds that are immediately around us. So she's always texting me, these different kinds of birds, and it's interesting. I had no idea that there were this. Like, I totally know the birds of Australia. I don't know the birds of California, and I'm not very proud of that. I should. And it's fucking really curious. It's good to just let, excuse me again, it's great to just let your brain go. For example, if you will indulge me for a few moments to tell you of a story that happened last week where me and the wife went on a walk to the graveyard, because we're goths. And it's funny that, you know, normally you can't walk in a graveyard after 6. It's the same in LA, but the problem in LA is everybody was shooting a horror movie. I'm not kidding. It said no filming. It was great. Anyway, a curious thing, you know how back about 100 years ago it was trendy for very rich people to put obelisks, the big spikes on there? Okay, so get this. The graveyard we're walking around, which was in City Terrace, Evergreen, every single obelisk pre-1912 had rotated clockwise 10%. Every single one. Because they're not attached to the base, they're just sitting on there. So the logical thing is there was an earthquake. But what was fascinating is, why did they rotate that way? Why did they twist? And why did they all twist in the same direction and the same amount? And they were also slightly off their axis as well. And it was one of these things where it was like, we both suddenly got all really interested. And we're running around looking at all the different obelisks and looking at the amount it was sent off. And then we were looking at the dates. And that's really great because both of our minds that are like totally stressed out and just shut down from stress went, oh, something really cool, detective work. But what's really interesting is that later I was thinking about that 10% off shift. And I started thinking about that phase change from the perspective of music. And I started thinking about sequences that started getting knocked out by 1/16. So it might be a 15 against a 16. And just letting them start tumbling. Kind of like when you're sitting in the traffic and everybody's got their blinker on. And all the blinkers are out of time. And then suddenly they snap in. It's that magic moment. And stuff like that, that little tiny thing, made my brain go, you know, it set it back on fire again. It made everything bloody awesome. That's a thought. An interjection. Anybody else at this wage is always willing to interject. And I'd love to hear people's thoughts. And once again, I'll just mention we're actually going to be shutting down in 20 minutes because I got another Zoom I have to do. But it's interesting. It's educational. It's my educational job. So ask me about opera next week. Does anybody else want to talk about something very interesting, or synthesizers, or anything at all? I could crap on it. Ah, Rose! Give it to me, 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 give it to me.
I just wanted to share my last experience performing live, since we were talking about that a few Zooms ago. We were talking about what it's like to perform now during COVID times and stuff. So I did a show in DC, and fortunately, it happened to coincide with a circus gig as well. So the circus gig paid for our hotel, so we didn't have to like take it out of our funds and stuff. So we were able to actually make some cash on this trip. And yeah, it's been really interesting. I'm still doing very limited stuff. I'm not doing like a lot of, you know, touring or shows in a row or whatever. But it's been interesting to see. One of the things I wanted to bring up was there was a situation where one of the bands was like, they were like, oh, who's going first? And I wanted to stress the importance that it's really not that important where you are in a slot. Like some people like take that so seriously to the point where they end up being rude to the other people that are performing, or you know what I mean? Like they just get so caught up in like, I must be the headliner, or I must not play first, or I don't care. I will fucking like, I'm like, fine, have fun playing after me. You know, like if you are not ready to fucking bring it, you're gonna be embarrassed after playing after me, because you're gonna see that my set, I'm not holding a damn thing back. You know what I mean? Like I just put everything on the line because it's the thing that makes me happiest in life. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I've learned from this pandemic that I think is positive, is that music is just super important to me. It just really, it makes me feel complete. It makes me feel like I'm doing what I was put on this planet to do, you know, and to perform it for people and to see them reacting to the thing that I created is one of the most satisfying things I've ever done in my life. And I've performed in front of thousands of people, you know what I mean, and doing circus stuff, and it was great, you know, but it wasn't anything compared to playing in this little club in DC, you know what I mean, to like a smaller amount of people, but those people were listening to my words and hearing the thing that I created. And so yeah, I just think it still is a viable thing to perform. It's still worthwhile. You know, just pick and choose your events wisely, and don't sweat where you are in the lineup, because it's silly. It's silly to worry about that. All you have to sweat is how well you perform. You know what I mean? Like that's really the most important thing at the end of the day is, you know, did you really put it all out there, or were you holding something back because you were pissed off that you were not in the place that you wanted to be in the slot or whatever, you know, because it doesn't really matter. Like when you let those things get to you, you end up screwing yourself, because then you're so preoccupied with that you are letting it affect your performance. You're letting it affect how much fun you're having in that moment. And you just shouldn't, you know what I mean? It's all about having a good time, and it's all about making the time that you're spending up there significant and fun for the people that are there, because it takes a lot to get people to come out now. You know what I mean? Like it takes so much. So you have to really be thankful for each and every person that's out there that's watching you. You know what I mean? And you have to, you made a promise by deciding to host a show. You know what I mean? You made a promise that you were going to fucking bring it. So bring it, and don't sweat where you are in a set or how big your name is on the flyer. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Every show brings its own opportunities. Each of the last couple of shows I did, you know, I didn't make that much money off of them because of, you know, less attendance, whatever else. But I did get new opportunities in every single show that I played. Every single show that I've played so far has led to another show, actually, because one of the people that was in that audience ended up being a booking person. You know what I mean? So you never know who it is that's out there in the audience, which is why, once again, do the best job that you can do and don't sweat all the small bullshit stuff. You know what I mean? Like that you don't know who's out there in that audience. You don't know if it's somebody from a bigger band that's looking for somebody to join them on a tour. You don't know if it's a booking agent. You just don't know. You know what I mean? Or somebody who's, you know, brother or sister or, you know, partner happens to be a booking person. You know what I mean? Like you don't know what connections that you can possibly make. And when you get too caught up in things, you end up losing opportunities because you're just too much in your head about it. And I think it's important to just throw it all out there. I started watching a show. Lizzo has a show right now. It's like a reality show competition thing. And it's called Watch Out for the Big Girls. And all of her backup dancers on stage are curvy, full-figured women. And so she was like on this, like, basically on this hunt to find like new people to join her team, you know? And it's been really interesting seeing, you know, like the passion that these people have. And, you know, they're having this opportunity to like join a tour and to play at Bonnaroo, you know, perform at Bonnaroo and stuff like that. And I found it very different from other reality shows because everybody, they were all like mostly people of color. You know what I mean? They all had figures that were more, in my eyes, realistic. You know what I mean? They weren't all like these perfect, skinny, tiny, you know, things. You know what I mean? They were all in different ranges of body types. And, you know, they all kind of expressed these different obstacles that they'd had in becoming performers and becoming dancers. And I've seen that happen in circus too, where people are criticized for, you know, having extra weight or whatever, because they're like, oh, well, you know, you're not going to get picked up by a big show, or you're not going to get taken seriously if your body type is this, you know what I mean? But one of the things I love about circus stuff is that if you can do the thing, that's all that matters. You know, like that's the great equalizer. And I love that, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you have to be able to do the thing, you know? And I think that that's a little bit more honest than the music world, where we are subjected to all of this fake celebrity bullshit, you know what I mean? And you know, all of the Machine Gun Kellys of the world. Has anybody seen the Machine Gun Kelly cover of Aerials? He did a cover of Aerial by System of a Down, and it's not good. It's not good, but you know, it's what it is. But again, it's just one of those other things that they're just putting out there to distract us from the things that we need to do. So definitely disconnect, walk in nature, do your thing, and whenever you perform, always, always, always perform with your full heart and be ready to give it to that audience, because that's really the most important thing about music at the end of the day. That's all I got.
Thank you. I'll pick up on one thing, distractions. Remember that the currency of our time in the electronic age is your attention. Your attention is it's gold. It is the most valuable thing there is. So it's basically mining your attention and everybody's attention. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to distract you, to bring you over here to give you their attention. Be aware of this new economy, because soon the economy will be your psyche itself. Yes, it will. Does anybody else want to bring anything else up? Because we have approximately 10 minutes of rock left, because I'm going away. Eric!
Well, Carl, you brought up obelisks, and I was just going to mention, has anybody ever thought why the government and corporations push monotheism but use occult and pagan symbols in everything they build and do? Okay, that's it.
That's a very big conversation, and I thank you. There's a lot of occult symbolisms at graveyards, by the way. Chipped on the stones of good Christian folks. Mez, what you got?
Hi. We were talking about ritual and all that, and I don't know that I have a set ritual for music yet, but when I get in drag as Max, which I did yesterday, very first thing I always do is take a shower. And that helps me get in the mindset of like, okay, I'm Max now. And then, so I take a shower and then I start to put on my makeup, and it starts with the complete white. And then as I paint in the features, it gets to a point where I'm like, that's Max looking at me in the mirror. And it feels very ritualistic. And when I can, I try, and because I really like ritualistic perfume, I have like a bunch of little bottles of perfume, and I try and like, I think I'm still finding the right one for Max, but I like to try and use the same ones for different kind of tasks. So yeah.
Can I ask you, tell us about ritualistic perfume, because we've been talking about rituals and stuff. Smells, the big one.
Yeah. So I started buying from Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab when I was like in high school, and they're so good. They have so many, like they have a lot based on literature, and they have some based on like Japanese erotic art, just like everything. And it really feels powerful, like, because I even put on a dab, like, I put on a dab of that, like, when I'm getting ready in the morning, like, to go to work. So, like, sometimes it's like, I know that throughout the day, I can just, like, give a little sniff on my wrist and, like, know that that's the scent I'm working with that day. Or, like, sometimes it's just, like, a little secret of, like, the favorite one that I always have is, like, the Japanese wood block of, like, It's like blossoms in the springtime, but like the pictures on it is vaginas. So when I when I have that, it's just like my secret during the day. They're like, I'm wearing the vagina perfume. And it just like it's just like a bit of a something to make me confident. And yeah, and I just bought some because at the marketplace yesterday I found like people that have like ritualistic perfume. And okay, I bought this one for anxiety, and then I also bought these other ones, like this one is like it's about the like the space between the earthly realm and the spiritual realm. And then I have another one called Black Cat that he was telling me that like it's like really witchy, and they actually use like black cat whiskers to make it. They were cool. That was them, in case anyone wants to check that out. They were cool. Yeah, so I don't know about candles and stuff. I have used candles for that kind of thing, but perfume is what I use, so that's comfortable to me.
That was an excellent rant, and I thank you. This is another really interesting thing. Okay, because I mean, like, obviously, and Rainbow, you'll understand me on this one. The thing that makes you go, it's time to rock, is the smell of a smoke machine. Because as soon as you hear stage fog, it's like, it's time to go. And you smell it. Smell is such a motivator. Like, for example, the smell of dirt to me goes, it's time to garden. The smell of my earthworm smells like the bottom of a rainforest floor, and that means time to garden. But it's you're reminding me, I used to have a little oil burner, and I've got my smell right here. It's kind of I'm not going to remember what it is, but smell's really important. So this is great. Like, if you're ever the process we're talking about, maybe smell can pull you out of that fog, out of that overload. Eric, go, and we have like a few minutes left.
Yeah, agree with everyone, and that's why I'm a big incense and candles sense. Petrichor is that's the smell of when rain hits the dirt and it smells. That's what it's called.
What's it called again?
Petrichor. Petrichor. It's amazing. It just makes you feel. For me, I just absolutely love it. It's like when
wakes
it
up
first
the
starts
witch.
raining. Yep. Oh yeah, totally. But yeah, scents. I also love Black Phoenix Alchemy. They have they're I mean, they're expensive, but those are perfumes that are like, it's an independent company. I believe it's run by two gay guys. I could be wrong. So on top of it, that's double awesome. And they're awesome. The scents are unbelievable. They go from everything, like Max was saying, from witchy stuff to erotic stuff and anything in between. And yeah, scents everywhere. Just it really does put you in the mood. It just is something triggers your brain and gets it going.
Fantastic. All right. I'm actually going to call this, and we're going to hang back behind the Zoom curtain for like 30 seconds and have a chat. Thank you all for joining us. I'm sorry this one's short. I just got another thing I have to do today. But we're going to be back same time next week, this time Saturday, which is like 9 a.m. LA time, 12 noon New York time. And we're going to be doing more of this stuff. And it's such a pity I have to cut this short, because every time we start getting into this stuff, it gets really interesting for me. So let's rate to MTV TV, because MTV TV is fucking awesome. Please enjoy and bookmark it and always go back there. And I'll hopefully see you next Saturday. You rock, and the world needs more people like you. Bye, bye, bye.